Now, as we talked about portfolios and the personal branding, one of the most important elements nowadays is to have a solid LinkedIn profile. And the reason being is that CVs in our industry are not really a fancy thing anymore, but the next CV is actually LinkedIn. Because LinkedIn, what it enables a prospect to understand is all of your experience and have a bird's eye view as to how long have you been in the industry or what has been your previous experience is, if anything, if you had an education in this field, if you don't have for perhaps an experience, that's going to be helpful. So all of these elements are going to essentially be complementary with the portfolio which we're going to create in just a moment. And LinkedIn is going to play a major role in the decision making process. So let's jump into my computer and let's discuss some strategies so that you can maximize your presence on LinkedIn.
All right, so let's get started and let's talk about LinkedIn, which is an amazing site that is going to help you get those clients or projects. So let's get started. And the very first thing that you want to do is to sign up to LinkedIn. So simply go on linkedin.com and you can sign up. And then once you're signed up, you're probably going to be in the home. So simply click on the very top section, me, and click on view profile, and you're going to be redirected to this page right here, which is the only page that you need to focus on, because this is going to be your digital resume, your digital CV. And let's discuss each and every section and what should you ideally do here. So as you can see, over here we have the profile picture. Pretty basic advice here. I would just keep it clean and simple and have a profile picture of yourself, ideally facing towards the camera, because that's scientifically proven that it just adds a layer of it's just something which feels better. I guess it's because of the eyes facing towards you. So keep this in mind. And on a minor note, you also have the opportunity to add a background image. And for the background image, I would just keep something which is related to the type of work that you do. In my case, I kind of changed it recently. Instead of having dashboards or websites, which is totally fine because that's the type of services which I offer. I changed it with my position, since I work remotely and this is where I work. So just giving a little hint over there. And as you can see over here, you're going to have the type of position that you're currently covering. So this is going to be important because it's going to basically be one of the first things that they're going to see. So they're going to see full name, last name, and then what type of position. So what do you do essentially, and also your location. Now, a small note on the connections, since this is something which I encourage you to get to this level of 500 plus connections as soon as you can. It's a small detail, but it kind of makes a difference because it seems as if you're very active and you have a large network. So it's just going to have some social proof. And the way you do it is you can simply search for a position, for example, designer or web designer over here, and this is going to load up. Then click on people, and I would start adding some connection right here. And of course you want to add the connections of that you really have first of all, even before you do this. And by the way, don't add don't like mass add people that you don't know. You just want to maybe add 10 per day or something around these lines, so you don't want to look a little bit too suspicious in LinkedIn eyes. And by the way, you're also going to receive so many requests to add to your network the moment you start to really be active on LinkedIn. So as you can see, I have like a bunch of invitations, so I'm going to accept And these are, for the most part, people that I don't know. They're also recruiters. So it's going to be easy to develop this 100 plus connections badge, if you wish, organically. Now, right below this section, you're going to see this show recruiters that you're actually looking to find a job. So you can go over here and basically add these options based on your specific situation and preferences, and then click on add to your profile. And this is going to be something which is important. And now let's move on to the about section. Now the about is something that most designers usually mess up because the about shouldn't really be all about you, but it should be how you can help the other individuals, the other companies, or the potential employer. So looping back, and by the way, guys, all of these concepts are looping back to the video on the 5 essential elements. And especially here, you can see that, for example, in my profile, I have a question. It's just, would you like to bring the user experience or your web app or website to the next level? Are you having difficulties translating your design ideas to life? So these questions I'm asking to users and to potential clients, which the moment they read this question, they're like, oh yeah, probably I need to, this is something which I'm struggling with at the moment, or maybe this is something that I'm struggling with at the moment. So the moment you do that, you're going to relate deeply with that person. So it's almost like to catch the fish, these questions. So keep in mind what is your end user looking for, and try to maybe create something like around these lines. And again, you shouldn't use mine as the end all be all template. This is something that I've created pretty quickly, but it kind of hits the marks of the most important things. Now, I'll also briefly talk about my experience. It's the fact that I worked with startup companies, Fortune 500 companies, and companies of any size in between. What my UI UX solutions help with, and basic experience, so what I specialize in. And then I add some social proof. So don't take my word for it. Here's what some of my past clients have to say about me. And here's some testimonials, some social proofs. I'm telling them that they can see even more social proof right here. And I also mentioned the fact that I'm usually quite busy, so I only work with a small selection of clients. This kind of gives a hint as to my work approach. I'm not someone who has like dozens of clients at a time. I only work with a few selection. And then a call to action to book a discovery call with me or to write an email. So very important, the contacts, as I mentioned in the previous video. So a structure around these lines would be ideal in my opinion. Now, I'd also like to mention the fact that in the about, you might want to add some keywords and basically the type of work that you do, because this is going to be picked up by the search algorithms of LinkedIn. So even seeing things like specializing websites, web apps, iOS and Android apps, this is kind of helpful for two ways. The first one is, of course, I'm communicating what I'm doing, but as the second thing, it helps the search algorithms of LinkedIn to really discover our profile more easily. So as you can see over here, for example, in your dashboard, which this one is private, you can see that I basically have a search volume each and every week. So keep this in mind, and the more active you are, the more and the better tailored your LinkedIn profile is, the higher the chance of getting discovered. So over here you have some activity, nothing to really worry about really. And over here we have the experience. Now this is something which I always like to keep it light. So enter your job title and the company, of course, and just keep like 1 or 2 paragraphs at max when it comes to the job description, and always focus on describing how you helped that company, not what you did necessarily, but how you helped, how you, and ideally how, if how you brought them from point A to point B, which is essentially the problem solving elements which we discussed previously. So another cool thing which I'm not seeing a lot of designers leverage, and I know that sometimes you're going to have NDAs, like I have NDAs with a bunch of these companies, so I cannot really show the work. But whenever you can, I would add also images of your projects, and they're not in high resolution. So I understand it's not ideal. It's not like Dribble or your portfolio website options that we mentioned in the course, but essentially you can add some images so they can already see the portfolio and have an understanding of your visual design skills and also problem solving skills. So definitely something to consider, and please take the time to create these job descriptions and project descriptions well, because this is going to be the core aspect of your CV. So don't rush it. And at the very end, at the education, even if you just have a certificate or attended some courses, or maybe you attended like a bunch of online courses, or you were self-taught, still try and add something over here, because it just adds up in the entire first impression. Then we also have the skills. I wouldn't really worry too much about them. Like I added a bunch of them, just do it as a one go to add a bunch of skills, but this is not really going to be something that the employer is really going to focus all that much on. And as well as the recommendations are cool. It takes a little bit more to kind of like find the client that is going to link to give the recommendation via LinkedIn. He needs to be on LinkedIn himself, for example, and also the given ones. But yeah, for the most part, I usually focus on having the recommendation, the testimonials all in my personal website, and that works just fine. And whenever I need to show the testimonials to a client, I simply give the link of my personal website testimonials page, and yeah, pretty much good to go. Then on a final note, we have the languages and the interests. Try to put interests which are in line with what you do, and I guess you'll be good. So this is it when it comes to the overview of LinkedIn. And again, it's a really powerful website which is really going to help you out. So take the time to create and craft your perfect LinkedIn profile, because it's definitely going to be worth the investment of time.